Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus. I frequently forget about the plus, but it's there. And today, we're playing as Apollyon, who is also a character in this game. Starting off with reasonable-ish damage, kind of okay-ish tier rate, and the Void, which is going to be capable of eating any item in the game and then take over either their properties if they are an active item, or just give you a random stat up if it's a passive item, and occasionally that has its uses. Probably could have used one of those bomb enemies to destroy that tinted rock over there, but I didn't really consider it at the time. But overall this character is fine. He's a bit odd, but being able to eat stuff to make useless items useful can be use good, yeah. Let's go with use good on that one. And just gotta be a little careful at the start. We only have 2 hearts, but that's, you know, it's better than Judas, and honestly about on par with all the other characters. So really it's not that much of an issue, but a little bit of extra damage on this character never hurts, and hopefully we can find some of that. Like this, I don't particularly need this. Having Lord of the Flies can be pretty good, but for the most part, I'd rather just eat it, and instead it gave me a luck up and a range up instead. And yeah, neither of those are particularly exciting to our build so far, but perhaps eventually it ends up being useful, and I'm personally hoping for that one. Kinda hoping that at some point we're gonna at least see a bomb in this run though, because I would like to destroy that tinted rock, but if not, I mean, what are you gonna do? And we'll actually use this pill here. Was hoping for explosive diarrhea because I think my secret room's over there. Most likely it is, due to how the room is laid out and stuff. There's a whole bunch of rooms next to it that don't have the walls blocked off, so there was a pretty decent chance it's gonna be there, but unfortunately no real way of checking it. Spawn a blue fly when picking up a coin. Doesn't seem bad, it's better than nothing. And gotta watch out to not get hit by this champion, or otherwise we are gonna be in really spooky health situation town, and I don't particularly care for that. Pretty lucky that that guy ended up dying to the tier there, otherwise he probably would have walked into me. All in all, worked out pretty well. Happy about that. Got my first fly from the thing, and so far really wouldn't mind a few more consumables in this run somewhere along the line, but we'll see what we can get. I might try and kill that red one a little later than the rest, just in the hope that it might drop a red heart and put my health back on just a slightly nicer area. But it's hard to tell. I really don't know when enemies drop hearts. Like champions, I feel like sometimes they drop something and sometimes they don't. And that can lead to some worrying situations if you depend on them too much to drop something. Because I also wouldn't mind having a bomb, and I think sometimes the exploding enemies drop a bomb as well. So actually I've changed my mind. I'm going to try to kill that one last in the hope that it somehow increases my chances of a bomb to drop instead. Also, I might turn down the volume on my side in a second because it's quite loud. I don't know if you can currently hear it both through my microphone and the game, but that would be a pretty great combination. It should be synced up at least, but I mean, if it isn't, then that would really just make it a lot worse. So hopefully everything's okay so far. There we go. I actually got 2 hearts from that, so that more or less gonna imply that shouldn't have to worry about health too much, and I actually did get a bomb from that as well. So I can go back and destroy a tinted rock, and apparently there's one right here, so that works out. I was gonna go back if there wasn't any on the path, but I figured why not explore the rest of the floor first before we start walking back to places. Because I don't particularly need to walk back right now. One more key. Can we please get like a whole bunch of stuff? I mean, this isn't terrible, but it's not really like amplifying my build in any way, and that kind of concerns me. So this is a ragman that I believe mostly just does tier-based stuff. Doesn't really spawn stuff, so that is actually, in my opinion, a little bit nicer, especially because we didn't get any damage up at all. And having to deal with enemies at the same time with Ragman with low damage is just super frustrating. So I'm actually pretty happy about getting Ragman this time around. And yeah, just spawns a regular tiny old spider there, which, I mean, that I can deal with. Plus he cannot respawn them because their bodies don't stay on the floor. That's pretty good. Provided that it's not just troll bombs. That's incredible. 2 of them as well. Not just one. Of course it had to be 2 troll bombs that came out of that, but you know what? Fair enough. What are you gonna do? Is the other one over here? Yeah, there was one over here as well. Another chest. But another bomb as well, so we can just keep going down the train of bombing everything on this floor and trying to get one more soul heart in this build. This is not exactly looking like it's gonna reach the boss rush at this rate, but you know, that's okay. I'm just happy if we can make it through one of these runs alive, if I'm being perfectly honest. I'm actually a little tempted to go with the item that recharges the item when entering the boss room, because that can be really useful when dealing with this item in combination of just finding your item rooms and stuff. So I might actually just go with this. It is kind of a shame to get rid of the flies, because flies are just amazing. It's a lot of extra damage, especially early on. But I'm just gonna hope that it works out instead. The challenge room is also a little tempting. If we do get a devil deal, I might sacrifice some hearts just to go in there, because they can also contain items after all. And just being able to eat stuff like that can really make your build a lot better if you're lucky with the item, with the stat ups that you get. Plus it can also just be a good item, I suppose. But stuff like Curse of the Tower becomes a little bit more interesting when you find it, because suddenly, you know, it's actually something that you want, because you can eat it. The Parasite, it's decent. So I'm gonna actually have a think about it. Ended up getting 2 coins out of that. I might actually just take the Parasite, because it is actually pretty good. And it does work really well with stuff like penetration as well. So if we can get some of that in our build, that would be really nice. But with every item that we get now, we have to like make the thought of, do I want to eat this or do I want to pick this up? And in a lot of instances, there's a lot of edible items in there. There's a lot of stuff that's just not that great. Plus then there's active items. And some active items are just really nice to have in your possession every time you use it. So there's definitely some good stuff in there that's going to be worthwhile to use the Void on. But when you're not used to making those decisions, like I am, because I never really played this character, it can be a little bit semi-overwhelming, I guess. But, you know, we'll figure something out. So I have 0 keys. I have a decent idea where the secret room is, and I don't think it's next to the shop. I don't think it can be next to the shop. I'm not blowing up those rocks yet, just in case I get flight somewhere in this floor. If we can get... yeah, I'm gonna have to get that almost certainly. Oh boy. They went in a weird direction. Yeah, if we get like a hangman card, I might end up trying to go in one of those locations. Might probably go for the bomb one with a bomb just because I have to blow it up anyway. That's a lot of money. I really want to go into my shop now, actually. Also, there's a tinted rock here, which I didn't notice until now, so that's good. Little tempted to actually open up that chest there as well, but I don't really want to spend my only key on it if it's the only way I can get in there, you know? So it's like, don't know about that. But with 19 coins, we can very easily enter our shop and see if there's anything in there. And we'll just blow up this, because I do like red chests a lot. Especially when that happens. That is my favorite treasure to get out of a red chest. A little bit of a shame of the 5 coins over there, which I need to bomb to be able to pick it up, but... And then there's stuff like this, where red candle... yeah, that's actually just really nice. But I think I'm gonna pass on it right now, which I think is a mistake. It's probably better than the Void in most instances. And this is just like a bunch of consumables at this point, right? Yeah. So I can eat this. But I think it instantly uses it, if I'm right. Yeah, and it only uses it once. So really that was just me buying Pandora. That was really just me buying 2 keys and 2 bombs. That's more or less what that was. And that's obviously not the greatest thing in the world, but you know what are you gonna do? That's a lot of money. This would be a good time to have that getting flies out of things thing, but you know, that's fine. I don't need it. Don't need it in my life. So almost 9 minutes in, we're gonna go fight the boss on basement number 2 because we're spending our time. We did recharge our active item there using our trinket, so that's at least nice. So if we do get something cool in our devil deal to eat, then we can do that. If we do get good stuff in our devil deal, we can just instead eat the active item or whatever item we get from the boss. Like there's a bunch of possibility here. And Little Horn is being pretty cooperative in that he's just blowing himself up a lot and not actually throwing those balls that bounce around the room, so that's cool. The box, a little tempting, honestly, because oh my god, well, I have to go for both of these, obviously. That's almost a full Guppy transformation in one Devil Deal. Yeah, I might actually take this. Which is probably not the best choice, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Gonna eat this too. Yeah, I'll just go with this. I don't think I guess I want to see what the challenge room is, just in case there was actually a thing in there. And maybe I'll open that golden chest, because I do have 3 keys right now, and that could be something good. So that's tempting. I will have to fight a bunch of bosses, and I still don't exactly have a damage up. So that kind of blows. Ended up using 1 key for 1 bomb, which is not the worst trade in the world at this point, but I'd rather have something else. Yeah, I don't think I want to deal with that, because that's going to take forever. So instead, I will just bail. Might have been good to actually reroll the shop a few more times there, because I did have the bombs for it, but perhaps we can find some good stuff on this floor instead. This is a room. It consists mostly of waiting in squares. But fortunately, our base speed of 1 is good enough to only have to wait once, so that could have been a lot worse. Ugh. Oh man, I'm not dealing with this very well at all. But at least we have the health for it. We do have a fair amount of soul hearts, so it's not like immediately a concern, but gotta be a little bit more careful than that, I would say. These are fortunately not the ones that seem to spawn the little tier explodey worm boys, because those are rather annoying to deal with the amount of damage that we have. Instead, they chose to just shoot some garbage. I will actually basically go for every single red chest in the world right now, because if I can get a dead cat, then our build suddenly becomes good. So that would be nice. Also, Guppy's paw can also be in those chests, I believe. Plus, of course, the chance of getting a devil deal from one of those red chests. There's a lot of good things that can potentially come out of it. And if we can just get any of those things... Really, I just want Guppy. Getting 2 Guppy pieces in the basement is one of the best devil deals that is more or less available in the game. Other than maybe getting Brimstone. Brimstone obviously would have destroyed this build as well, just because on its own it's already so powerful. Yeah, open that one. I'm leaving that last red chest alone just in case it actually is a devil deal portal, because I kind of want to get whatever item I can get out of this, like whatever key or bomb or nothing. Oh my god, that's disgusting. I really kind of wish I did that earlier, but fair enough. So I ate the Guppy head, so every time I use the Void now, it will also activate Guppy's head and spawn 3 more flies. But that's effectively irrelevant, because I'm spawning so many flies already. But there was also no real reason not to do it. I guess I'll take this. It's gonna be a while before I get there. With this, it's a little bit more tempting to try and go for the boss rush, but it has been a really slow start, so it can just very easily not make it there. So maybe instead I'll just try and focus on getting places quickly. But I will probably try and find my item room on this floor anyway, because this build's just... I mean, it's Guppy, which is the sole reason that this build is as good as it is. But that's it. I wouldn't mind some more tier rate to make Guppy even more powerful. It just makes the boss rush a little bit easier as well if we do actually end up getting that. This is not really great. This is also not perfect. That's just another bomb. That's 3 bomb items in a row, so, you know, pretty cool. Taurus is just awful. Alright, Conehead. Not the worst, not offensive, and I don't particularly care for non-offensive options. I'm gonna leave Chaos right there, because I feel like my build's fine. And instead, not getting those extra coins from there, I will just leave. We're not gonna get any more angel rooms, so on the one hand I don't need to worry about my bomb count, which is nice. Oh my god, please though. But when you have no mapping, and you try to go for boss rush, you're almost certainly gonna get disappointed. At least it is when the first couple of floors just take a long time to clear. And unfortunately that was the case, so... Perhaps Hush is in our future? Boss rush seems a little unlikely. Hopefully we can at least do something cool here. I could use Guppy's Hairball to attack, which is something I never really do because it's just finicky. that's at least a pretty decent tiers up, so that's going to make Guppy significantly better. So I'm pretty happy about that. Just any time we hit someone with a tier, that's just going to be an extra fly in our arsenal there, so... The more tier rate we have, like Soy Milk right now would almost be good if it wasn't for the fact that it reduces your damage so much, and that fly damage is based on how much damage you do, so it makes the fly significantly worse as well. But it's getting better. It's getting better. Do need to be a little bit careful with my health, I think, but overall we're not too scared right now. Also, one of the things I kind of want to try if I do get into boss rush is just to eat all the items and see if it starts the boss rush at all. And I feel like this is probably the best character to try that with, just because he intrinsically eats enemies already. Or items rather, not enemies. Maybe this guy could eat enemies. That'd be a trip. Of course, I would have to reach the boss rush, and so far I'm consistently going in the wrong direction, which is just not helping out at all. If I can get any sort of mapping from the shop on this floor, maybe the next one, then there's a chance, but god. I'm getting some big floors as well. Bombs are key, that did almost nothing. It did actually make my keys a little bit more favorable. And now I'm back to having way more keys than bombs, so fair enough. Yeah, keys are no longer an issue suddenly. Like a couple extra rooms in there. I might skip on the item room if it means that I can reach the thing here. We'll go into my shop. Hope it's not greed. That's the Ploplio, which is not bad, but... I will actually just take this and go in here with that. Because if there is a devil deal here that I can take, I would rather just... Okay, that's pretty good. That's the devil deal. That's Krampus. I mean, double coal is fun, right? I don't think double coal does anything, but you know, that's Krampus' head. Cool. What it does mean is that I can duplicate things in the shop. So if I can get something good out of this reroll machine, then that would be nice. Like, you know, not that, basically. None of these either, effectively. Bogo bombs, there's the battery again. Alright, cool. At least we got more keys and a soul heart. So, you know what? Fair enough. That was definitely worth the money and time. If there was any mapping in there, that would have been good, but it's not to be. And then this happened. Like, it's just sometimes the game just doesn't want you to have the boss rush. It is what it is. I was gonna bomb out of that, but I don't have any. I have no bombs. I just used them all. Perhaps, yeah, there we go. But getting through both depths floors in 3.5 minutes, that's pretty rough. Not impossible if I go in the right direction. But overall, not great. Not liking these odds too much. I'm just picking up a whole bunch of stuff here because I like the extras. So far, at least we're going in a direction which is a long way away from spawn, so it does seem hopeful that we're going in the right direction at least. But I kind of also want to clear every room just in case we are not going in the right direction. There's a lot of stuff to think about here. Like this, you know, this is just great. That's just lovely. Actually, this is pretty great, because I can do this, and that. Now, every time we use the Void, we are also going to activate... That's a lot of stuff. We're also going to activate the Book of Revelations, which means that we are going to be getting a whole bunch of health. So health is no longer really an issue. It also makes reaching Hush a little bit more plausible, because we can get a whole bunch of health before we reach him. And that's good. I can very easily go in here just to see if there's anything good in there. Sadly, don't have a way to eat that right now, otherwise I definitely would have. I'm just getting a lot of money, which is cool, I guess. Not really, like, super helpful, but it's nice. And this is probably the biggest depth floor in the world, so that's also quite great. There we go. Okay, so we are on track to getting it. I will just use that there and then instantly recharge it. We are getting boy on horse because we did just use a bunch of stuff there. We used the Book of Revelations, and that does increase the chance quite significantly of boy on horse to spawn. Also had a bunch of like skeleton stuff around me, which I never really used that book, so it's good that it's finally getting some use, I guess. It's not really doing quite the damage I would like it to, but if there's... that's not a shop, that's just a locked thing with some garbage in it. This is a devil deal that can turn me into Judas. Not terrible, but not exactly what I'm looking for right now. So I will just bomb my way through here and hope. Because there is still some chance of reaching the boss rush right now. It's just that the odds are not exactly in my favor. Destroyed that room just to get this. Kamikaze, pretty cool. Not right now, though. Some rooms will just be quicker to clear by just damaging everything. But then there's stuff like this, where it's technically probably faster to just bomb my way through. But at the same time, if I go in the wrong direction, I have to bomb myself through like 3 times. And that's not great. This is also very destructible. And it was the wrong direction. There is a tinted rock here with some soul hearts. Don't really care about that because we have more or less infinite health with the Book of Revelations. Just pressing the buttons here in the hope that this is the right direction. It wasn't. And this is more or less our last chance. It's very unfortunate that that was multiple wrong directions in a row. And then double monstro. I'm obviously not going to be dealing with that. And then the last room before the boss room. Giving me a lot of flies there, actually. And also one spider that decided not to die. Let's see what we can do here. Dealing a lot of damage, getting flung through the room there. And actually ended up just in time to reach the boss rush through sheer chaos there. So pretty good. Pretty happy about that. I kind of need to deal with that red poop bastard over there who's already placed 2 red poops in this room, but all in all pretty happy. I will just use my void every now and then just to get that soul heart. Every time we clear a wave, we are going to get 2 charges into like 2 charges of our item, so that is some more health every time I use it. And I'm feeling fairly confident that with this build, like, we'll definitely beat the boss rush. But also that we'll probably end up with more health than we ended up losing in the end, so that's pretty great. I will try to do this as quickly as possible because I do still want to reach Hush as well. We do have a bony friend there, which is hopefully going to help us out a little bit as well. And we have a whole bunch of bones just surrounding us right now. I'll just not deal with you. You can have the bone guy deal with that guy. I think he died, judging from that explosion sound, but he ended up blowing up quite a bunch of segments of that boss there. So doing pretty good. Doing pretty good, little book friend. I'm surprised. Maybe I should just actually try that item more often, because I'm really not. But I also don't know how frequently you can actually use it and how useful it is on like a regular basis when not combined with the ability to heal yourself in the same time and stuff like that. So like overall it's probably not the best item in most cases, but right now it's doing a lot of work. Like all these extra orbitals around me are probably blocking some tiers right now, and that seems pretty strong. It's almost certainly better than no active item at least, but that's just, it's never seems to show up when I don't have an active item. It's always when I already have something better. I guess mostly because it tends to show up in a library and there's just a lot of good books in the game. And occasionally you'll have like even the choice between this and Book of Anarchy. The Book of Anarchy can be better just when you need bombs and stuff like that. So there's a lot of instances where it's just not that great a choice. I didn't really see who the other boss. It's Blasticid. Okay, Blasticist. That's fine then. This is kind of an awkward boss to deal with this build because we don't have really any penetration. I guess we do have like the bandage ball, which we could have used because that does go more or less straight through his face, but you do need to get pretty close, which with this build doesn't really matter that much because, I mean, we have the health for it to just get really close to stuff. Plus we have Polaroid as well, so stuff just tends to die pretty quickly. I do hope we can get through this quite quickly. The Guppy transformation is more or less just carrying this whole build, by the way. That is our main source of damage. Just Guppy and having decent tier rate at this point are the only reasons that this build not only made it to boss rush, but has a chance of making it to Hush as well. Somehow that boss just died. I don't think... Was it flies? Like, it was kind of hard to tell, but suddenly he just sort of exploded there. I mean, I'll take it, but it just seemed a little surprising. This boss rush is taking quite a while though, and I'm not super happy about that. And also not happy that he's doing this attack of all things, because it means it's just gonna take a little bit longer to deal with him. But fortunately the flies decided to reach him in the end there. Dealing with death real quick. Just using the bandage ball for maximum damage. Not sure how I didn't take damage there, but I guess... Oh, it might have been Conehead actually. Because I was definitely touching that enemy there, so there's no way that shouldn't have dealt damage. But Conehead definitely might have saved me. Getting the bursting sack. Because unfortunately the last wave of the boss rush only gives you one charge. And that kinda blows, all things considered, because I'd rather just eat the item, but unfortunately didn't quite have the charge for it. We'll just try and run through this as quickly as possible, but I do want to maybe have a charge on it, because it does mean like every time I do take a damage on this floor, I can actually get some health back again. Plus I can make some skeleton friends on the way if need be. That probably won't be necessary, but it can be useful. But I'm actually pretty happy with the full charge item that we decided to go with, or the trinket rather. Because I do feel like it has been quite useful, and being able to just get an extra heart that way every time we enter a boss fight, like that's pretty good. Especially now, because with the bandage ball as well, I can just like use Polaroid and immediately get my health back at basically during the fight, or after the fight if I decide to eat the item. So really there's no bad thing about it. It's really just really nice. It's just a good time all around. Pretty happy about it. So I hope you're all doing well. I kind of got lost in this run, if I'm being honest. Like, sometimes you just have one of those runs where everything just sort of... everything fascinates me, you know? So I'm pretty happy that we got one of those runs going on. Just suddenly there was a lot to talk about, and everything just flows automatically, and I appreciate runs that are like that. And so far... we're getting through this reasonably effortlessly. I'm gonna end up with having like no keys if we make it to Hush, unfortunately, and that's gonna suck a little bit. Because I sort of tried to skip as much as possible on the previous floors due to me just not having the time to deal with stuff. Like we had like 5 seconds left before the boss rush portal was gonna close there, so all in all pretty lucky that we made it to begin with. I will just go into my curse room, I think. And partially hoping that I can recharge my item there. There we go. Which ultimately is irrelevant because we're going to lose the health there anyway. But we're going to get a little bit of extra damage from the blood rush or whatever it's called. That can't be what it's called. But yeah, we're getting a little bit of extra damage just because we took damage on this floor, and that's just going to be retaining for the remainder of this floor, so that's nice. I don't like eating the pony at all. Because while usually the pony can be quite good because it gives you flight and it gives you speed, but in this case you only get the active item effect. And the active item effect is just you flying through the room and using Crack the Sky, and it always messes me up. It really disorients me rather than helps me. So personally, I'd rather not eat it. There probably are people that can live with it and are more used to it, but I'm not one of those people. It just confuses me most of the time, and that's a recipe for taking damage that you shouldn't be taking, so I'd rather not. Kinda surprised my super secret room wasn't there, but I mean, it obviously didn't have to be. I'm a little tempted by this, if I'm being honest, because I could use the extra keys. So I might just take this and maybe go back for the other trinket if I remember and have time for it in the end. But if I can just get like a couple of extra keys here, that would be nice, because I prefer to have at least 7 when we enter Hush. So if we can just make it to 7, that would be lovely. If I can find my secret room somewhere, then that would be like a massive boon to finding a bunch of keys, provided that there is money inside there. But there often is. This time, not so much. Not even 5 coins from that guy, so that kind of sucks. So I guess I'll just keep it with me for a little while longer. But I actually don't hate the idea of just going with this for now, because at this point, while it is nice to have the extra charge available to me, I don't really need it. Like, it'd be nice for Hush, for sure. And if I do stuff like that, it's kind of good. because that was definitely damage that I could have gone without. Also, I guess I kind of need to hurry up, because I'm sort of running out of time here. I think with this, I'm actually just going to go back for it. Going back and forth on this a lot, but I feel like with 6 keys, that's fine. Maybe I can get an extra key from the shop if I'm wealthy enough. I can probably barely afford 1 key, I would say, with the 76 keys that we have at our disposal. And this kind of blows. This is another really big room that has just exits on every single direction, and they all don't lead to a dead end from the first look. So just gonna have to wing it here and hope for the best. So far not doing great. Really just going in the wrong direction there, so that kind of blows. But hopefully one of these places is the right one, and it's not going to be one of those weird floors where... Oh god. Where this happens. Hopefully it's not going to be one of these floors where just 2 rooms in every single direction and wasting my time significantly. At least with the bandage ball, I can just hug Mom's heart, and that more or less just finishes the fight combined with the flies that I have at my disposal. That was unnecessary. And that is a boss room right there. So we have 1 minute to kill Mom. That's more than enough. But I can basically just hug Mom there and already deal a whole bunch of damage to the start of the fight. I will just save the charge for now in case there is something good that I can eat in my devil deal, provided that I get one. And also I just have no real reason to use it right now. Surprised the brimstone didn't hit me there, but I'll take it. 1 minute to get into the hush portal there. 7 seals is pure garbage, so I'd rather not. It's not pure garbage, I just don't like the explosive flies when you don't have bomb protection. And since I don't have bomb protection, I will just leave it alone. Because I frequently get destroyed. Otherwise. BFF, I mean, that's an item. I might work with Guppy's hairball there, but I'm not sure if it's really going to do anything else for me. I'm just going to put the rest of the money in the donation machine, because I have no real reason not to. I think you can give me a luck up as well. No, it didn't. I think there's a chance you can get a luck up from that, though. So that could have been good. So first we're going to do the item rooms. I will almost certainly take that speed up, but let's just see what's in this one. I don't like lost contacts really at all. I guess I'll take that. That actually was a pretty decent damage up. I don't... I think I'd rather just eat both of these as well when I'm thinking about it. And ended up getting a luck up and a shot speed up, which is really not the best, but what can you do? One last key to open this. I might end up eating that sack of pennies as well, because I think this should recharge my item, right? Yeah, that fully recharges it, so I can actually just do that same thing again once I'm done with this fight. So we're just gonna chill here, just spawn a whole bunch of flies. This may take a while because the damage that we have isn't like super amazing, so yeah, we're gonna take a second here. Like, fly damage he doesn't really seem to care about it super a whole lot, hecka much, so we're just gonna see if this works out, but hopefully we'll be fine. Technically, every time we take damage, we will get a little damage up from our Bloody Lust as well, so theoretically we should be able to at least end up with a build that deals the amount of damage that Hush usually requires, but we're just gonna be here for a while. This might make the Hush fight a little bit more interesting, because I have a little bit more motivation to try and dodge stuff due to the fact that I'm not as protected as I usually am during the Hush fight. It's just gonna take a minute, but Guppy is doing his best here. Spawning a lot of flies that are all flying directly into him. And also Guppy's hairball can protect you from tears as well, so there's a lot of safety still going on with this build. That's not just the bandage ball stopping tears every now and then. So that's good. But for the most part, first phase is just sort of running around him, trying to just ignore those flies, because eventually they'll just fly off screen. And that was probably unnecessary, but it did increase our damage by 0.5. And that's just nice. Not going to be using the Void, because I really would rather eat the sack of pennies and get that stat up instead. And I don't think I really have a reason to use it during the fight. There is Lemon Mishap, which is pretty good against these blue enemies here, because it more or less insta-kills them. It's just a very small puddle on the floor. And honestly, I think I have the capabilities of destroying these enemies even without Lemon Mishap, so I'm just not going to bother with it too much. Not sure where I have to stand to not get hit, but fortunately Conehead decided to pull through and actually defend me from that attack there. And he's almost certainly just going to go into the floor here and just spawn a whole bunch of stuff, so that kind of sucks, but so far the battle's going fine. We've gotten hit once, which is alright. It's not the worst thing in the world, but now we're getting in that phase where he's just going to be spawning tears all over the place and spawning enemies everywhere, so this kind of sucks. But at least that one Blackheart more or less cleared out the entirety of the room, but then he decided to just do this attack again because he's Hush and he can do whatever he wants. And he's really just going with the I can do whatever I want by just continuously spawning enemies and going into the floor here. So, having a classic Hush experience, I would say. Gotta be a little careful with the amount of tears that are all over the place, but I think if we can just stay here for a second, that would be lovely. Also pretty happy that I did end up taking Parasite, because I think those extra tears are also spawning flies every single time. And at least two, like the main tier and one of the splashing tiers seems to be hitting Hush a lot, so we're getting a lot of extra flies from the Parasite as well. So all in all, feeling pretty good about this. What I don't feel good about is as Hush as a concept, and that this fight can just last as long as he desires. And I've said that I think every single time I fought Hush, so maybe one day I will stop complaining about this boss and just live my life, but until then, it is just gonna be this where I'm gonna be unhappy every single time. Every single time he goes into the floor, it's like, why? Why must he do this? But it is what it is. All in all, he was still surprisingly cooperative. I can eat you. That is another damage up, so that's pretty great. And also a luck up. And if we get money equals power now, we will also get a pretty decent damage up afterwards. So far this Apollyon build, working well. It's working well enough. It's actually more or less working exactly as good as it needs to, given the amount of time we've had to reach Mom's heart, to reach the foot fight, like everything. We've barely managed to get everything so far. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. I'm just using Are You a Wizard, like, without even trying to shoot in the right direction right now. I'll just let my tear rate do all the work, because I think that's fine. Because you can actually just shoot in the same direction over and over by switching between shooting up and left and up and right and stuff like that, but I just don't feel like it right now. Eventually this thing is gonna wear out and I can just shoot normally again, but you can definitely make Are You a Wizard manageable if you like pressing a lot of buttons. It's just that I didn't particularly feel like pressing a lot of buttons, so therefore we didn't. And that's okay. Just gonna be looking out for a couple more keys here so we can make the most out of when we reach the chest. Would be nice if we can also eat a couple of the first items that we do find there. If we get a Curse of the Blind, I would also be able to just eat everything without having to worry about anything being terrible. Like, this build could still die to something like Isaac's Heart if I just play bad, so I'd rather be safe, you know? Make some skelly bones around me. I guess there weren't that many enemies in that room, but never hurts. That is potential. The nice thing about the Coin Beggar is that usually, well, for one he drops a key, but also with this amount of coins that I have at my disposal, it's more than likely that I can get an item to drop. And usually the health up at this point in the game is not that great. Sometimes you get Mom's Pill Purse, sometimes you get Little Chest. Little Chest is actually pretty okay. But otherwise I could have eaten that as well, and that could have given me a little stat up, but right now I'm just looking for anything that gives me consumables. And Little Chest is theoretically capable of doing that. I'll just take that, I guess. Don't mind losing that immediately. In a second, more than likely. Wow, he was actually being quite nice there. More often than not, I end up taking damage whenever I do this, but it is theoretically possible to not take damage, I guess. I'll just do that real quick. We have 5 keys available, so we can at least open up everything. Also very nice that the little chest ended up giving me something cool there. Like, if this was Curse of the Blind and I would have eaten this and I would have re-rolled my whole build. And that's not necessarily terrible. Because my build's not, like, super impressive or anything. But it would have been a kind of an uncomfortable surprise. And actually what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna re-roll it, just for funsies. That's Tech 2. Not really anything exciting. And now I'm just gonna re-roll this thing again. I'm actually gonna do that. Not sure what my build is right now, but I'm curious to find out. Oh, I think we have Ipecac with like... Ooh, that's wacky. So my damage is 44 because of Ipecac, and that more or less instantly makes all of my flies kill everything in the room. And that is nice. Also, we got Dead Cat somewhere in there, which is also lovely. And somehow we're spawning spiders. I guess from like Infection 2 or something like that. Infestation 2? Probably not Infection. And we have some way to see where the secret rooms are, so I can actually focus on that. But yeah, this double reroll of my build made everything quite significantly better. But also one important thing is that if I use the Void again, it will once again reroll my build because I decided to eat the D4. So I do need to be a little bit careful, but I think this build is more or less capable of sustaining itself until the end here. So I'm not going to be too worried about it. I'm just going to blow everything uphill real quick. We do not have the Polaroid. God, that's a lot of explosions. We don't have the Polaroid like immediately available to me right now because I am at red heart health, so you know, that's just life right now. But I'm just gonna have some fun with it. I'm not sure if we're gonna get a void portal here, but it would be cool. No. So I'm just gonna try and see. First, let's just reroll again, just for funsies. My damage went to minus 42, so that's always good. My range has become more or less garbage. So if I were to decide to fight Mega Satan right now, it would be kind of awkward. Not impossible. I have a lot of red hearts. Also, I have Bob's Brain, so that's always fun. But fortunately, one nice thing is that even if I do die somehow on this floor, I have 9 lives. So, like, that one's not going away because that's just how the game works. And then it doesn't matter. I could just go to the chest at the end of the floor and just leave. And then I have nothing more to worry about at that point. But if I do get something wacky, that'd be nice. Plus, I think every time I reroll my build, it also counts those items as being picked up in the like statistics screen. And also, I guess I have some sort of shield going on, so that's cool, I guess. But my damage right now is just awful. Like, compared to the previous build, where I had Ipecac and Bob's Brain actually landing right in the middle of that guy, so that was pretty cool. Sacrificial Dagger is pretty good, but I'm just going to end up re-rolling it in a second, so I'd rather just... What is my tear rate right now? Like, look at this. That was not the case in the previous room, I feel. Oh, I have that weird, like, thing. I have a weird thing. Yeah. You know the one. Like, I had that thing, like, every time you take damage, you lose your aura, and then the next time you enter a room, you get a different one. And that can do some wacky things with your tear rate from time to time. Also, there's a lot of weird enemies. Also, my, like, follower is doing jittery things, which I'm not exactly sure what's causing that, but I guess I'll take it. Not sure if it's helping me or harming me in any way, but you know what. Also, I got anti-gravity, so I'm just tapping my attack buttons right now, but it's working. The one fun thing about the D4 is that it at least makes the build at the very end of the run a little bit more interesting, and when you can experiment like this, it's just a lot of fun, I think. It's just one of those things. So hopefully there is at least an enemy remaining in that last remaining floor so we can reroll our build 2 more times along with this battery. We shall see in just a second, otherwise we can only reroll it once. Oh, there's actually some more rooms available to me as well. So that's cool. Dealing a pretty substantial amount of damage with this build as well. Lost a whole bunch of health there, and also we have Tiny Planet, Guillotine, and also the Magnet Tier, so let's just get rid of that immediately. We got the Bob transformation again. And Tech 10, that's a classic. That one never does bad. Like, Tech 10 with Guppy is stupid, so pretty happy about that. I think we are still like magnetizing our enemies towards us with these tears, but that's fine. Also, we got the punching bag, which was doing some stuff as well. But overall, we ended up getting a whole bunch of different transformations at the end there. Having a good time in the chest, and now is just about time to call an end to this run. Went very well, I would say. Like, all things considered, ended up doing a surprisingly large amount of things. It's always nice to get Hush and Boss Rush out of the way, because it does change the way you play. Like, just trying to do things a little bit quicker can have very negative consequences if your build is not ready for it. And this time around it was, so that was just very convenient. Also, we have the thing that allows us to place bombs down really quickly, so that's fun. Classic Bomb and Mad moments right here. Also, are we immune to bombs? No. Alright, we're done here. But that was neat. All in all, not too disappointed with how that went. That's a whole bunch of stuff done for Apollyon there. Pretty good. Pretty good. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Hope y'all having a nice day. Hope to see y'all next time. Bye-bye.